Something unthinkable is happening across America. The airports are still open, the lights are still on, the landmarks still stand tall. But the crowds, they've vanished. Entire cities that once pulsed with travelers are falling quiet. Hotels slash prices, yet rooms sit dark. Iconic attractions stay open, but the lines are gone. This isn't a travel slump. It's a full-blown unraveling of an industry that once fueled the American economy. In 2025, tourism in the U.S. is collapsing, and it's happening fast. Behind the headlines, entire states are starting to fracture. Jobs are vanishing, local economies are buckling, and communities built around wanderlust are being left behind in real time. So which states are quietly sliding into crisis? What's driving the collapse? And could your hometown be next? This is more than a wake-up call. It's a warning. You're watching Discover the Nation, and today we're pulling back the curtain on the 10 U.S. states where the tourism dream has turned into a silent collapse. Let's dive in. Number 10. Nevada. The lights on the Las Vegas Strip still glow, but behind the neon is a troubling silence. Nevada's tourism engine is sputtering in 2025. Hotel bookings are down across the board. Suites that once booked out months in advance now sit idle. Casino foot traffic is light, and buffet lines have vanished. Gaming revenue has dropped nearly 8%, and Strip visitation is at its lowest point in over a decade. But it's not just Vegas. Reno, Tahoe, and Laughlin are also feeling the pinch. International travel is way down, with Canadian and European visitors pulling back due to cost and safety concerns. Meanwhile, domestic travel has stalled as inflation forces families to stay home. The ripple effect is brutal. Restaurants are cutting staff, shows are getting canceled, even major conventions are pulling out. Tourism supports over 450,000 jobs in Nevada, and those jobs are now on the line. And the worst part? This downturn isn't temporary. Experts warn this could signal a fundamental reset in travel patterns. For a state that built itself on entertainment, Nevada now faces an uncomfortable reality. What happens when the show no longer goes on?
Number 9. California. Golden sunsets, Hollywood dreams, and theme park thrills, California has always been the crown jewel of U.S. tourism. But in 2025, cracks are showing. International travel, once a major pillar, has plunged by over 30%, especially from Canada and Asia. Cities like San Francisco and Anaheim report their worst tourism revenue in over a decade. San Francisco hotels are slashing rates, yet vacancy signs still glow. In LA, tourism-dependent neighborhoods like Hollywood are seeing restaurants and retail shutter. Even Disneyland has cut seasonal staff. Meanwhile, places like Napa and Santa Barbara struggle to fill their luxury properties. What's going wrong? Start with cost. California now ranks among the most expensive states for tourists. Accommodation, gas, food, and insurance are all up. Add to that ongoing wildfire risks, rising crime headlines, and stricter short-term rental regulations. Tourism once pumped over $157 billion into the state, but in 2025, the slowdown is real and accelerating. If this trend continues, the California dream could become a memory. The ripple effects hit small towns hardest, where tourism dollars keep entire communities alive. And here's the question: when a state this iconic starts to stumble, what does it say about the future of American travel? Number 8. Florida. Florida's palm trees still sway and theme parks still sparkle, but the magic is fading fast. In 2025, tourism in the Sunshine State is facing its biggest crisis in decades. Bookings from Canada, once Florida's most reliable international market, have plunged more than 70%. That translates to billions lost. Orlando's hotel occupancy has dropped nearly 20%. Resorts are offering steep discounts, yet rooms remain empty. Miami Beach, once packed with tourists, now sees half-filled clubs and idle restaurants. Even smaller beach towns like Destin and Clearwater are reporting significant drop-offs. Why the collapse? Some blame skyrocketing prices, from airfare to food. Others point to new travel restrictions, post-pandemic fatigue, and rising crime perceptions. Hurricanes and environmental damage have also scared off cautious travelers. But it's more than just a bad season. Florida has long depended on tourism to fuel its economy, employing over 1.6 billion people in driving industries from hospitality to real estate. And right now, that engine is seizing. Theme parks are scaling back, local attractions are closing early, and thousands of tourism jobs are vanishing. If Florida can't fix this freefall, it won't just be a crisis, it'll be a collapse. Number 7. New York. The lights of Times Square still dazzle, the skyline still stuns, but in 2025, something's off in New York, and it's hitting tourism hard. The city projected 67 million visitors this year. The reality? Just 64 million. A 3 million person drop might sound small until you realize 2 of those million were international visitors. That's billions in lost spending. Tourists from Europe and Asia who once filled Broadway seats, museums, and hotels are staying away. Restaurants in Soho sit half empty. Hotel rates are falling, yet vacancies remain. What's driving the decline? Safety perceptions top the list. Though some crime rates are down, headlines about violence and unrest have spooked global travelers. Add to that a stronger US dollar, higher taxes, and sky-high costs, and New York suddenly looks less appealing. And this isn't just a New York City problem. Cities like Buffalo, Albany, and Rochester report drops in conference tourism and seasonal travel. Local attractions are struggling to bounce back post-COVID. The financial impact runs deep. Tourism supports over 400,000 jobs in the state. When that industry slows, so does the economy. New York may still be iconic, but if it can't turn this around, it may lose its place as the capital of global travel.
Number 6. Hawaii. From the sky, Hawaii still looks like paradise. But in 2025, tourism numbers tell a different story. Visitor counts are down across every major island, and it's not just about fewer people, it's about fewer dollars. International tourism from Japan, Canada, and Australia has dropped dramatically. Oahu's hotel occupancy is at a post-pandemic low. Maui's tourism market hasn't recovered from recent wildfires. Average daily spending is down nearly 18%. Vacation rentals are facing new regulations. Airlines have cut flights, and even domestic travel has cooled as rising flight costs and hotel rates deter visitors. Hawaii's remote beauty is now part of the challenge. Getting there is expensive, and staying there even more so. Businesses are closing. Tour guides, surf instructors, restaurant workers, they're all seeing fewer hours. And the impact stretches beyond the beach. Tourism fuels over 20% of Hawaii's economy. When tourism shrinks, families are forced to leave, unable to survive on reduced income. Communities that thrived on travel dollars are going quiet. Hawaii's environment, already strained by over-tourism, now faces the opposite threat: economic desertion. This isn't just a travel downturn, it's an identity crisis for a state that lives and breathes tourism.
Number 5. Arizona. From cactus-lined highways to red rock wonders, Arizona has long drawn travelers in search of sun and serenity. But in 2025, that golden glow is dimming. Tourism spending is down nearly 7% statewide, and cities that once boomed, like Phoenix, Tucson, and Sedona, are feeling the chill. Luxury resorts in Scottsdale are offering steep discounts just to keep bookings alive. Grand Canyon visits have dipped sharply, and tour operators are canceling expeditions due to low turnout. The culprit? Record heat waves, rising airfare, and a shrinking international market. Canadian travelers, once a backbone for winter tourism, have pulled back hard. Domestic travelers, too, are thinking twice before venturing into 110-degree heat.
Add in water restrictions, wildfire alerts, and rising costs across the board, and Arizona suddenly looks a lot less inviting. This state bet heavily on growth, hospitality, short-term rentals, and real estate. But when tourists stop coming, the foundation shakes. Jobs vanish, businesses close, and expansion halts. Even cities like Flagstaff, built on seasonal travel, are struggling to attract visitors. Arizona's tourism engine isn't just sputtering, it's dangerously close to stalling. And for a state built on adventure and escape, the silence in 2025 is louder than ever. Number 4. Louisiana. The soul of Louisiana has always been its culture. Jazz, Creole food, festivals, and that unmistakable Southern energy. But in 2025, that soundtrack is fading. New Orleans, the jewel of the state, has seen a 20% drop in international visitors. And it's not just the Big Easy that's hurting. Statewide, tourism revenue is down, and the cracks are widening. Events like Jazz Fest and Mardi Gras are pulling in smaller crowds. Historic neighborhoods are quieter. The French Quarter? It's starting to look less like a party and more like a ghost town. What's driving this decline? For one, rising crime headlines have made travelers wary. Inflation has made trips less affordable, and a string of brutal hurricanes in recent years has left parts of the state in long-term recovery mode. Even cultural tourism, which Louisiana relies on heavily, is suffering. Fewer tour foods, fewer swamp excursions, fewer heritage festivals. That means fewer jobs from tour guides to musicians and less tax revenue to support local services. Louisiana's charm hasn't disappeared, but the tourism that sustains it, that's under serious threat. If 2025 is any indication, the state must act fast or risk losing one of its most vital economic lifelines.
Number 3. Missouri. Missouri's brand has always been built on heartland charm, family vacations, riverside cities, and classic Americana. But in 2025, it's clear that charm isn't pulling like it used to. Tourism across Missouri is down significantly, with Branson, a longtime staple for Midwest family travel, reporting its weakest season in over a decade. Theater bookings have collapsed, senior tour groups are canceling, shops along the main strip are shuttering one by one. In St. Louis and Kansas City, tourism-linked businesses are facing a new reality: fewer conventions, lower hotel occupancy, and less out-of-state traffic. Even major attractions like the Gateway Arch are feeling the pinch. So what's behind the slump? Rising crime fears in urban areas have shaken visitor confidence. Inflation has tightened family budgets. People are skipping road trips, rethinking vacations, and choosing closer, cheaper options. And that's hitting small-town Missouri the hardest. Hannibal and Hermann, once packed with weekenders, are struggling to keep lights on. This isn't just a slow summer, it's a structural unraveling. If you're finding this breakdown eye-opening, subscribe now to Discover the Nation. We're digging deeper into the trends reshaping the places we love. Because if Missouri doesn't pivot soon, it could become the cautionary tale no one saw coming until it was too late. Number 2. Illinois. Skyscrapers, deep dish, jazz clubs, the image of Illinois is iconic. But in 2025, that image is starting to blur. Tourism in the state has taken a major hit, and it's not just Chicago that's feeling the burn. Chicago's international tourism is down 14%, with business travel and conventions vanishing. Events that once packed McCormick Place now struggle to draw a crowd. Restaurants in the Loop report emptier lunch hours. Navy Pier is still spinning, but fewer are there to see the view. Outside the city, it's worse. Springfield, Rockford, Peoria, places once rich with history and drive-in traffic, are seeing tourism flatline. Route 66, once a bucket list road trip, is eerily quiet. Roadside diners and vintage motels are shuttering their doors. Why the exodus? Perception matters. Safety concerns, rising costs, and a lack of competitive charm are pushing travelers toward other destinations. Illinois, despite its cultural treasures, is being outshined by cleaner, cheaper alternatives. Tourism jobs are being cut, festivals canceled, museums downsizing, and the state's fragile budget, it's straining under the weight of lost visitor dollars. Tap that subscribe button if you want to keep tracking the economic stories the mainstream isn't showing you. Illinois still has the goods, but in 2025, fewer are coming to get them. Number 1. Texas. Texas was supposed to be tourism-proof, a land of rodeos, music, food, and swagger. But in 2025, even the Lone Star State is starting to dim. Austin's once buzzing hotel scene has cooled. Occupancy is down 11%, and iconic music venues are scaling back shows. In San Antonio, the Riverwalk is no longer packed wall to wall. It's quiet. And Houston? Major trade shows are pulling out, and international flights arrive half empty. So what's going wrong? Start with the heat. Brutal summer temperatures now exceed 100 degrees more often than not, making outdoor attractions unbearable. Add in hurricanes, electrical grid instability, and the rising cost of lodging and food, and suddenly Texas feels risky, not rewarding. Fredericksburg, Waco, even tourism hotspots in the Hill Country, they're all reporting fewer bookings. Wineries are cutting staff, bed and breakfasts are shuttering. Texas is still pumping money into its tourism campaigns, but the return on investment is shrinking. The myth of too big to fail doesn't hold in tourism. If this surprised you, hit subscribe now, because we're not done exposing the cracks behind America's strongest brands and what they mean for the people who live there. Even Texas isn't immune, and the ripple effects could stretch far beyond tourism.
These weren't just tourist spots. They were economic engines, cultural landmarks, and the heartbeat of entire communities. But in 2025, something's changed. The airports are quiet, the hotels are half full, and the dollars, they're disappearing. Whether it's Hawaii's empty beaches, Florida's abandoned theme park corridors, or Texas's silent riverwalks, America's tourism industry isn't just hurting, it's unraveling. If your state made this list, chances are you've already felt the impact. If it didn't, it might be next. This isn't fear-mongering. This is reality, and it's unfolding faster than most are willing to admit. If you value honest reporting and hard truths, subscribe to Discover the Nation. We dig deeper. We tell the stories others won't, and we show you what's really happening behind the curtain. So hit that like button, share this video with someone who still thinks travel is back, and stay tuned, because this story, it's just getting started.